Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, good morning, Wendy Cooper. Thank you for joining me this morning. Good morning to everyone out there watching, whether you're live or on replay. Good morning. Welcome to Tea Break on a lovely, rainy Tuesday afternoon. I think there's a theme starting with this whole rain thing, right? I've got water boiling in the kettle. I'm getting my tea ready. And let's take a break together. Hi, I'm Dr. Sasheen. If you've never joined us before, this is Tea Break, our mid-morning tea break on Tuesdays where we come together for a little peace, quiet, camaraderie, community, and just to hang out for 30 minutes and what can sometimes be really crazy days, right? It's only Tuesday, but for a lot of folks by Tuesday, the Mondays have taken over again. So hang on. I've got steam rising. So let me go turn the kettle off. So as I was saying, if you're new to this little break, grab yourself something to drink that you like. It doesn't have to be tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, hence why it's the tea break. But grab whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy, and allow yourself to just relax. Breathe and release and allow the moment that we're in to be a bubble of tranquility, if nothing else, in your morning. So, what are we drinking today? Tea for me. So, today I'm drinking from Green Heifer Farms, accountability tea sent to me by an amazing friend of mine who sometimes joins me in the morning. But if you haven't checked out Garden Living with Cicely, that's her channel, all things gardening. She does amazing work in her garden, beautiful tablescapes, lots of information. If you're into gardening and you want to check it out, that smells amazing. You want to check it out, please do. Please do. I'll drop a link to her channel in the description. So she sent me this beautiful, I'm not sure if I can, beautiful loose, there it goes, tea called Accountability with spearmint, holy basil, dandelion flower, evening primrose flower, and yellow dock root. It's an herbal tea blend and it's called a detoxifying tea. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. So this is again from Green Heifer Farms. I love the fact that there's a cow on the label. I just think it's really cute. He said, so that's what we're having. It's beautiful loose. I love wild loose teas like this. I love steeping it. So because I have, good morning, Michelle. Because I have a new tea and I want to, and it's big tea. So if you've seen my little strainer, you know I have a little strainer, right? And so this is going to be a little much for my little strainer to contend with. However, I wanted to introduce you to my one of my other lovelies, which I think everyone should have in their house if you are a tea drinker. And it's a single strainer teapot. So ceramic lid, but it comes with its own ceramic strainer, and then you make a single cup of tea. So that's what I'm going to be making this morning's tea in. So broke it out, washed it up, got it nice and clean, and now we're going to make some tea. So let's fill up our little strainer here. You know, give me a moment. I got to make sure I get the proportions right. It says to use roughly 1 to 2 tablespoons. So my tablespoon, I know, not very pretty. I'm going to add just a little bit extra because you know how herbal teas can sometimes steep weak. And I like a good robust tea in the morning. And so I'm going to give this a little extra. All right. We have filled our strainer. We're going to put our strainer in our pot. We're going to grab our kettle. And we're going to fill. Ah, perfect. All right. We love teas. Okay. All right. It's in. You can see the steam rising. We've got it. We're lidding. And now we wait. Now we wait. Okay. I'm so glad that you're here too, Carolyn. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Wendy. I got this teapot, one of my many travels somewhere. I'm going to forget where though. I've had it for so many years. And it's so perfect for that one beautiful pot. Cicely's here. Cicely, we're drinking accountability this morning. I just scooped it into my one of my mini teapots. I have moved all over this country and off the continental United States. I've lived, and I always carry around teapots. It's crazy, right? They're breakable, they're fragile, and I've got some heavy teapots, some heavy teapots. But I just, no matter where I go in the world, I'm gonna drink some tea. I'm gonna have some tea at some point in time during the day, and I'm gonna want a pretty teapot. I'm going to want some functional teapots. I'm going to want some pretty teapots. I'm going to want some single serving teapots. And I'm going to want some big teapots that I can brew something up lovely to share with friends. So I have packed teapots to go on many journeys with me. All right, let's seal this tea back so we don't want to lose that freshness. And we're waiting. We're steeping. And you know how our routine goes. We're steeping. And so now we're waiting. Hello, y'all are talking without me. What's going on in here? Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Michelle, how are you feeling this week? Hi, Elle. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Cicely, I'm going to link them. I was just talking about you. Garden Living with Cicely. I told them that if they're into gardening and tablescapes and beautiful planting and ideas and just feel good garden content, they need to follow you. So, for everyone who wonder who I was talking about, it is Garden Living. Michelle, you got to tell us how you're doing and make sure that you're okay this week. So, if you are joining us live, I'm Dr. Sasheen. If you're joining us via replay, still Dr. Sasheen, but let us know which gang you're in so that we can say hello to you and welcome you to the party. Um, Hang on. Michelle, come on, we gotta this is getting crazy. Over COVID, but now positive for flu B. Okay. Ma'am. Ma'am, we are going to send lots of light and love and healing towards Michelle that she starts to feel better because our sister friend here has been laboring under this sickness for a little while now. Yes, take your vitamin C. Take your vitamin C. One of the things that I do like about herbal teas, depending on the flowering herb, you can get quite a bit of vitamin C. Um, from a good herbal tea, like again, depending on the flowering herb. So that's good. Also, we eat a ton of oranges in this house, which is weird because I don't like orange juice, but I don't mind a fresh orange. So, but orange juice, it's just, I think it's a texture thing. But a fresh orange, I peel them for my kid all day long. And so we're constantly eating an orange, like a slice of orange at some point in time throughout the day, which I do think helps. I think it helps. But uh, I will also supplement when seasons like this hit. I will absolutely supplement with some vitamin C. Absolutely, let's do it. Well, this flu strain is different every year, which is why we're always getting a new flu vaccine because literally a strain mutates every year, and there's no way to know what the mutation is going to be until it hits, which is why it's speculative of what it could be until it shows up. So I feel like you are correct. There's definitely there are new strains of bugs that are out there. Though there is some really interesting, anyway, we'll talk about that another day. There's been some interesting medical news coming out about potential nasal vaccines. I'm on top of the news. I have an asthmatic child who, thank heavens, has begun to outgrow his asthma, but I'm always very uh, keen to know of different advances for respiratory ailments, right? Because we don't, when you've lived with albuterol and rescue inhalers and nebulizers for years, you want good news that there might be things on the horizon that will help people who have trouble breathing. So, all right. So we're going to steep this tea for another 5 minutes because good teas, especially herbals, can sometimes need a little bit longer to get all the goodness out of it. But let's talk about um, rule number 1. So let me talk about this. If you've not been on this channel, if this is new, this tea break is new for you. One of the things that I talked about, and there's a video, if you go onto my YouTube channel, the video that starts to play is called The New Rules of Engagement. If you're a new visitor. And that video for me has done crazy numbers. But the reason I put that video as the entry into who I am is because that video came out at a time when we weren't really sure what was going to happen in the world. But the new rules of engagement are very simple. You're watching the first one scroll to the bottom of the screen, and that's the one that we're going to talk about because rule number two, there are only two of them. I'm a simple girl. I'm a simple, simple girl. So I like to keep things simple. So there are only two rules of engagement, right? The first one is that your piece is non negotiable. The second one is that nothing and no one gets to mess with your piece, mess with rule number one. Like, that's it. The problem is we believe number one, but we don't practice number two. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Just chatting about it. Nothing too heavy, but I want to dig in a little bit this morning because I feel like as we go into fall, people get a little less. We're in our houses more. We're a little chillier, thank heavens, because the summer. My gosh, y'all, it was 80 some degrees here just 2 days ago, and today's it's in the 60s. But fall brings a chance to slow down. But I don't think these are normal times, right? And so that feeling of slowing down, I think, is not coming for a lot of people because it actually feels like we're ramping up for the next go around in the world. And so I would just want us to take this this time and remember what it means when your piece is non-negotiable. Because I think people assume that when I say your piece is non-negotiable, that means that you're never disturbed by anything. And that's not what it means for your peace to be non negotiable. We're living, breathing beings in the world, right? Things are going to disturb our peace all the time. The thing that you want to ask yourself is, am I going to give away my peace for this thing? That's different than your peace being disturbed by something. My peace is disturbed all the time by various things. But I have to make the decision about whether or not I'm going to let this thing steal my peace. Disturbing my peace simply means I might need to remove myself. I might need to remove you. I might need to do something different to restore the balance of my peace. But what I am not going to do is put my peace on the altar of negotiated things to make somebody else happy. Let me say that again. What we don't do around here is put our peace on the altar for negotiations to make other people happy and content anymore. Because when I came up with the rules of engagement a year ago almost, hint, hint, what I recognized is that a lot of people who were trying to practice peace were going to be asked to negotiate away their peace for the greater good. And I felt like we had gotten to where we were because we had negotiated too much of who we needed to be away for the greater good. Sometimes the greater good ain't great. Sometimes the greater good is not great, right? Sometimes we're asked to negotiate away the things that keep us sane and healthy and happy, and we're asked to sacrifice it on the altar for what for somebody else or some other cause, and we are left with a shell of who we are, and we can't live like that. And what doesn't happen is nobody comes back around and says, hey, I know you sacrificed your piece. Thank you so much for that. Let us give it back to you. Let us carve a space for you to get that back so that you can be made whole again. No one does that, right? So then we're left carrying the empty luggage of peace because there's nothing in it anymore. But we got a whole lot more baggage of other stuff that doesn't belong to us: anger, strife, envy, jealousy, um, you name it, right? Like all the things. But we're empty because our peace has been depleted. And so I started talking about how we're not going to do that anymore. We are not going to sacrifice our peace. So, what happens when our peace becomes non negotiable? Well, that means we're going to have to negotiate some other things. So, you want something from me that's going to disturb my peace? The answer is no. The answer is no. And by disturbing my peace, what that means is I'm not going to give you more and get less. I'm not going to take more from you and get less than I need to feel peaceful. So, since that's not a negotiating starting point, where do we start the negotiations? And what you tend to find is that when people realize that you're no longer willing to negotiate your sanity, your well being, and your peace for them, they get really twitchy. They get real twitchy because they don't really know what to do with you now. They don't know how to say, okay, so I can't rile you up. I can't make you angry. I can't make you sad. So how do I get to you? And that is when you say, you don't get to me. That's the whole point. You don't get to hijack my peace because you need something to make you feel better today. And too many, like I tell y'all all the time, don't click the bait, right? Because that is all clickbait is. Clickbait is an agreement to let somebody hijack your peace for 2 seconds of an adrenaline rush of somebody else's drama. That's all it is. It's literally saying, I'm going to give you my peace of mind, my peace of spirit, my peace and sanity for the 2 minutes that I'm going to get riled up over this thing that literally means nothing. It doesn't mean a darn thing. And now I've sacrificed my peace and I'm upset for the rest of the day over strangers on the internet. Upset. And we don't do that. We're not going to do that. And the only way to not do that is to begin to practice using the non-negotiable peace muscle. And it's the non-negotiable part of it that's really key here, because I have a video on my channel where I make the point to say that being courageous is a skill. It's a muscle. We have to practice courage in order to get through our lives. It's really easy to not be courageous. It's easier to be afraid than it is to be courageous. Our fear muscles are practiced morning, noon, and night, right? There's always something out there trying to make us afraid. And so it takes effort and will to practice courage in the face of everything wanting to make you afraid. It takes effort and will to practice peace in the face of all the things that want to make you crazy, right? All the news and the commentary and all the stuff that wants to bump you off your peace. Because you know what it's really hard to do when you're peaceful? It's hard to take a group of peaceful people, women in this case, it's hard to take that group of peaceful women and make them do something against their best interest. When you can't be guilted or gaslit, right, into a heightened emotional state and then triggered into behaviors you don't want to do, when that can't be done to you, you become this force that people don't know what to do with. They don't know how to handle you. What are we supposed to do if we can't trigger you? And that's when you realize, oh yeah, you can't trigger me. That means you can't bait me. You can't bait me into things that would destroy my peace because you can't trigger me. All right. I've been chatting a lot. Y'all are talking to each other. Let me see what y'all saying in here. Um, yes, there was a time when I would leave my house on the daily to find some peace. Me and the library became really close friends. I used to go and they knew me by name. They have conference rooms. This is when I lived in New York. There were little conference rooms that I would just go. I would just go to one of the conference rooms. Got into that habit of going to the library for extended periods of time, not to check things out or read, when I was in grad school. And you could reserve a little cage. They used to call them cages at Mizzou. You could reserve a cage. People would just reserve a cage at the beginning of the semester and they would make it their little cave, really. And it became the place where you went to get to think, to work in peace, and you could stay there all day long and no one would bother you. Anyway, so the habit of leaving my residence in order to achieve peace, I really had to do that for some periods of my life where home was not peaceful at all. So I get that. I feel that, Carolyn, in my bones. I I have nebulizers. Yep. Yeah, so like I said, my son is actually growing out of his asthma, fingers crossed. We haven't had to use a nebulizer or an emergency inhaler for 2 years now. So I still have a ton of them and I keep them for that very reason too, because you just never know. There's so many asthmatic people that people don't realize how many asthmatic people there are floating around. So I keep two little emergency inhalers in the car, and then we have a big nebulizer here at the house. So Cicely, people pleasing is it absolutely is. Automatic disruption of your peace. The minute you have to say, okay, Belle, I'll do it for you, then you have negotiated away your peace. You have said, my peace is now negotiable, not non-negotiable anymore. It's now negotiable. So let's negotiate how much peace can I get back for giving you this thing. I don't ever want us to be in that position, because there's, like I was saying, nobody ever comes back around and says, hey, thanks for negotiating away your sanity and your peace of mind. How can I give that back to you? No one ever does that. And I think it's early. I won't curse. I think it's disingenuous and crap to be expected to give away pieces of ourselves to people and then have folks then have the audacity to be upset with us when we're like, we need a break. I'm checking out for the day. I'm going away for the weekend. I'll see you in I'm not volunteering for this thing anymore. I need my own time. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're being so selfish. You didn't come back and offer me any of the pieces back that I gave you. You just assumed that I would find a way to make myself whole again. Well, I'm going to make myself whole now. So I'm going to tell you no. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you no. So, yeah, I missed my piece this past Monday. Listen, when we start giving the piece away that we are fighting to maintain in a crazy world, I get upset about it too. Like just this morning, I have a routine in the morning. I teach my college classes first thing in the morning. And I've been waiting on maintenance for some maintenance issues in my apartment. I don't get too riled up about these things, but I'm going on month number 2 of this issue in my apartment. So now I'm getting upset. And I am the first person to ask myself, what is it about this situation that's making me upset? Because the thing that needs fixing is mildly inconvenient. If it were majorly inconvenient, I'd make more noise about it. But it's mildly inconvenient. It's mildly inconvenient. So finally, they showed up this morning. They're supposed to be here yesterday. My issue is the communication has fallen off significantly at my complex, and I don't appreciate that. So I'm trying to focus on the thing that actually bothers me the most. It isn't the mildly inconvenient thing going on in the bathroom. If that was, again, if it was major, I would simply say, I'm going to have this fixed and send y'all the bill because I'm not waiting for you anymore. But what is irritating me, and this is what I had to ask myself this morning, is are you going to negotiate your peace away for this irritation that you need to feel? Because what's the real problem here? And the real problem here is I'm a communication professor. And if you cannot communicate your business and take care of your customers in a way that keeps them happy, I question your business. And that annoys me. And so I was like, let me just sit with my annoyance because part of non-negotiable peace is not ignoring how you feel, right? It's feeling the thing that you're actually feeling and not masking it with other things. So I can be peaceful and still be irritated. I can do both of those things because I recognize that what I'm irritated about is the lack of communication and that I can do something about. When we can't do anything about our irritation, when it's amorphous, because we can't put our finger on the thing that's bugging us, that takes irritation to anger, to frustration. And then our piece is off. It's in the corner somewhere going, call me when you're ready. Call me when you're ready, because we don't know what to do with ourselves. We don't have a way to focus that intensity. But when we stop and say, what is it exactly that is my problem? My problem, not the bathroom. I can't fix the bathroom. That's not my problem. I pay somebody to fix the bathroom. That's their problem. What is my problem? My problem is I communicate with you. I expect you to communicate back in a timely fashion. When you break that contract with me, I lose trust with you. That's my problem. I'm losing trust. Okay, now let's go talk to the people whom I'm losing trust with, which is exactly what I did. Hence why this morning someone showed up at my door because they were supposed to be here yesterday. Yesterday I was pissed, but I also realized I'm going to focus on the thing that is disturbing my peace, which is the lack of communication, because that's what I can control. And when we find the things that we can control, our peace comes back to us, right? Because now I know what I need to do to restore the equilibrium in my household. I need to talk to the people and say either you're going to fix it or I'm going to fix it and bill you. That's it. Imagine that. Somebody showed up this morning. Go figure. I find them too accessible when I'm in my hometown. Ooh, you're in Canada for a few weeks? Where? My best friend's in Canada. Well, she's in Nova Scotia. So where are you in Canada? I haven't been to Canada yet. I want to visit. I'm in Canada right now for a couple of weeks, and this is the only place where I can focus on me. Girl, stay. 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 Keep yourself there. Enjoy the beauty. Enjoy the clean air and the calming. Your cortisol level must have just dropped when you crossed the border. right? Did your did the serotonin start to rise and the cortisol started to fall and the serotonin said as it was rising? That is what we need more of. Places where our serotonin is whooping our cortisol out the door. See you bye. Right? Where we literally breathe deeply the peace because we have found a place sometimes of just quiet because life is noisy. So I'm so glad that you found some peace. I'm so happy that you're in Canada. My dad went to Niagara Falls on the Canadian side this year. So it was his annual trip. They decided to do Niagara Falls. Lovely pictures, and I would love to be where you are right now because I need to travel. Um, yes, enjoying our own company is something that a lot of people struggle with, which is makes it harder to have your peace be non-negotiable if you don't know how to sit with yourself and appreciate yourself. Not just sit with yourself, but appreciate yourself. Um, as kind of an odd kid, I would say I was definitely a nerd. I hung out with the nerds and the geeks and the whatnot, but I learned I early on in life to cultivate a place of peace for myself because not everybody liked what I liked. And I could either not like those things or I could like those things and be okay with being alone. And so that's what I've done over the years as I've gotten older. I've kept that sense of I really like my own company. So if I don't have any company, I'm okay. And that's not easy sometimes if that's not who you are, right? But it's something when you really like your own company, there's a freedom in liking your own company. There really is. Yes. Yes, ma'am. My dad is retired. My mom is retired. I am not retired. But I actually have to talk to my dad sometimes and say, listen, you don't have to say yes. You don't have to say yes to stuff. I'm telling you, you don't got to say yes, daddy. I want you to say yes to things that you don't have to. And we have these conversations because you're right. People think just because you're retired or you work an unconventional schedule. So I work an unconventional schedule in that I kind of work on my own time when I'm not in class teaching. So I have pockets of my days that are free. People will call me, hey, can you or will you do this on Saturday? No, sweetheart, I will not. um, I'm pretty selfish with my calendar and my family's calendar because we don't have a conventional schedule and people don't they will take advantage of that when they realize that we can do certain things and we have the ability to do certain things, and I still say no. I still say no because I'm not, my life is scheduled this way for me, not for thee. Not that thee isn't fantastic, but it's for me and not for thee. I stopped dating to keep my peace. Good for you, but my family decided to take the mantle. Oh, listen, you are not gonna let somebody come into your peacefulness and disrupt it with illusions of togetherness. I am all for relationships. There are women in our community who are happily married, and they will be the first ones to tell you relationships cannot be where you sacrifice your peace. They simply can't. Was married. I have an ex-husband and a beautiful son. Relationships cannot be the place where you sacrifice your peace. They simply cannot. When that starts to happen, it is no longer a relationship that will serve you and you'll be bitter. And we know entirely too many women who've been married for a really long time who are not happy and have never been happy. And so if you want to stop dating, don't date. Don't date. Where there's no rule book that says you have to, if you want to date, date. Like, but I mean, there's a way to keep your peace in that, right? To say, you have to you have to meet my peaceful criteria. And if you can't, then you just don't belong here. You just don't belong here. Families, whew, definitely some me time. Yes. Set your boundaries and hold them without apology. That's right. Set them and hold them without apology. And if they get mad at you, remind them that they're not going to come back around and help to pick up any pieces that get broken in this process. And if you all take nothing else from this today, just remember that every time we farm out our peace, give pieces of ourselves away, nobody's going to come back around and help us restore that peace. No one ever offers to come in and help stitch it back together. No one ever, they just look at the outside and go, oh, thank you for giving us all some pieces of you. but they never come back and say, here, let's give them back. Let me give some back to you to help restore you and make you whole again. And so we have to go and find our own healing and make our own selves whole. And that's great. But that means why am I giving my pieces to you? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, you're in New Brunswick. Lovely. My personality type is peacemaker. Yes. Um yesterday's posting on my channel said, you are no longer the keeper of the peace. So stop doing it. You don't need to be something along the lines of, your job is to say that's not my business. That's not my business. And since it's no longer your business, quit trying to keep everybody else's peace. That's what we are practicing. Good morning, Amy. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh man, put me on a plane and I start to exhale. Exhale. I absolutely love. I can sit with myself. Yep, but I like being silly. Absolutely, friends are great. I I think learning to love yourself and be okay with your own company opens you for better friendships. Yeah? Like it opens us to more authentic experiences as friends because there's nothing better than being amongst people who recognize themselves, who see the beauty in themselves, because it's so much easier to see the beauty in you. I'm not in competition with you because I'm not lacking anything to be here with you. And that is so freeing. I wish that we got that lesson in high school when the cliques and the groups and the whatnots are forming so much of how we're going to interact with each other as life moves on, right? And instead we get these broken narratives out of high school that linger throughout most of our adult lives, and our friendships become this battleground. And I wish there was a way to teach 18, 19, 20-year-old women, like, when you learn that you are amazing, there is no competition with other women for amazingness because you don't have to compete when you are whole in yourself. Now you're gonna compete for jobs and you're gonna compete for other stuff, but the game of life that we're all playing is a competition that some of us figure out goes much more in our favor when we realize the only competition is ourselves. I don't need to compete with you for you because I'm whole, happy, and human just the way I am. Which is great if I also see that you're whole, happy, and human just the way you are. Let's be friends, right? Let's be friends. Whole, happy, and human. Whole, happy, and human. Don't need fixing. Don't need to be put back together. Don't need to be restitched. Whole, happy, and human. All right. Yes, Hawaii, Costa Rica, Panama. I'll let you know a little secret. Been looking at retreat destinations 2026. Okay, just gonna drop it there. Keep it in your keeping the conversation going. Okay, it has been 33 minutes. I'm late. Y'all let me just talk y'all's ear off. Our tea has steeped, and for those of you who are wondering, you can't see it because but it's swelled up, right? It's totally swelled up now. But in case you joined late, this is my single tea strainer. So I put the accountability in here. Oh, it's beautiful. And it smells amazing. So put this back down gently. I will add my honey. I will strain out the few leaves that have gotten in there, and I will drink my tea off camera. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30 minutes in your day. I greatly appreciate your time, your attention, and your conversation. And hopefully the feeling of being in a chaotic world receded to the edges for a while. And we just got a chance to hang out and enjoy each other's company and be peaceful, because in this space, your peace is non negotiable, and I will fight anybody who tries to take it from you. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you. Hit like, subscribe, and share the message, and invite anyone who you think might want to hang out with us on Tuesday. The next video drops on Thursday, and this week we are talking all about why you need to be more selfish. Carolyn, we want to see some videos from Canada talking about how that cortisol level drops when you get to a place where you no longer have to think about the craziness. We want to see some of that. I want to see some of that. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. It does go too fast. I agree. Bye everybody. I got to get to the next thing. I'm going to be late. Bye everyone. I'll talk to you next week and see you on Thursday.